Hello, is my voice audible?
Yes, ma'am. Your voice is audible, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to all the officials, guests, and participants to today's webinar on cyber fraud awareness. The webinar is being conducted by Information Security Education Awareness, ISEA, and Computer Emergency Response Team, India, CERTIN, as part of National Cybersecurity Awareness Month 2024. Information Security Education and Awareness, ISEA, is an initiative of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, MeitY, Government of India, with an objective of capacity building in the area of information security, training of government personnel, and creation of mass awareness on information security. The project is being implemented through 52 institutions for academic activities, 16 implementing agencies, with one coordinating agency for training of government officials, and CDAC Hyderabad as coordination agency for National Awareness Program. Today, ISEA conducts the Cybersecurity Awareness Webinar to make the participants aware about the various threats, attacks, vulnerabilities, hygienic online practices for attack prevention and secured online measures. We sincerely hope that the seminar will benefit the participants in understanding the subject and gain useful information. A hearty welcome to one and all once again. Before we proceed with the webinar on today's topic of cyber fraud awareness, let me give you a brief overview about ICEA and its initiatives or the activities. The project ISEA, under its current phase, has the following 5 key objectives, which includes generating highly skilled certified cybersecurity professionals or CISOs, grooming students towards products and solutions development in cybersecurity, strengthening research and education in information security, and as a part of its key objective of spreading mass awareness on cybersecurity, ICEA, in its current phase, has come out with the portal for digital Nagriks, who are none other than the citizens of the country from all walks of the life who are engaged in digital online activity. Apart from this, it also intends to create a common infrastructure and shared resources for everyone. As part of its Digital Nagrik portal, which has been developed for the citizens of the country who are involved in various activities, who include stakeholders like children, teens, youth, teacher, women, parent, government officials, NGOs, CSEs. We have come about for development or for creating this mass awareness through various initiatives under ICEA, which includes mass awareness activities like awareness workshops, awareness weeks, conducting community radio programs on Doordarshan, All India radios, development of mobile app of with cyber fitness as its content, development of multilingual awareness content in the form of websites, handbooks, posters, cartoon videos, and leveraging print and electronic and social media for dissemination of cybersecurity related content. Apart from this, we're also going to bring forward the role-based awareness and progression pathways, which is basically a learning portal or online learning programs, which intends to create interactive programs in cybersecurity for kids, cadets, women, trainers, and people from all the walks of their life. And also, this will have competitions, quizzes, and cyber collabs as a part of their its content for promoting the awareness in cybersecurity. These are the various learning programs which are made available on our site or the portal awareness.isea.app. Participants are encouraged to go to this particular portal, awareness.isea.app, and check out the various content, informative content in various formats which are available for them to view on cybersecurity related aspects, and also register for the courses which are available over there for various stakeholders, as you can see in this screen. Apart from this, participants are also encouraged to join with us, that is, join with us with the ICEA in creation of the content through crowdsourcing platforms in multilingual formats, for outreach activities by conducting various workshops or webinars, or joining with us in conducting them, for joint development of cyber awareness courses on digital Nagarik, and promoting cyber awareness through social media platforms. You are motivated and encouraged and are welcome and invited to join with us in any of these particular activities, and go to this particular site, awareness.icea.app. Under the join with us section, you can register and give your consent in whichever way you would like to help us and move forward. Today, as it was mentioned, we are conducting this particular awareness webinar as part of NCSAM, National Cybersecurity Awareness Month 2024. So, participants are encouraged to go onto this particular site, visit this particular portal, and under NCSAM banner 2024, you will find pledges, quizzes, awareness bites, which are created on daily basis, and information related to various upcoming webinars. For any certificate that participants would like to get for the NCSAM 2024, you can register for the pledges or the quizzes and get the certificate. With this, let us move on to the webinar which we are conducting today. And let me briefly introduce you to the speaker of the today's webinar, Srimati Indraveni. Srimati Indraveni is currently working as Scientist E at CDAC Hyderabad. Srimati Indraveni is a cybersecurity analyst, engineer, and auditor with 19 years of professional experience, specializing in information security, audit, and assessment of IT and ICT systems, ICS, SCADA, and OT systems, telecom systems, etc. She has strong expertise in web technologies, blockchain, telecom systems, web designing and development, web administration, web security, vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, information security, open source software, and cloud computing. She is a skilled information security and cybersecurity auditor and trainer. She has published research papers in various conferences and delivered many talks. She has been a keynote speaker in various cybersecurity conferences. She has conducted 300 plus information security awareness workshops to various stakeholders across the country, and more than 300 security awareness workshops across the country. She is actively involved in development of BOSS GNU Linux, an Indian version of Linux operating system, and has many certifications to her credit, including Certified Blockchain Security Professional, Blockchain Council CBSP, and P1 Security Trained in Telecom Security Hands-on course, LTE Security and Insecurity, IMS Security and Attacking Telecom Infrastructure. Thank you, ma'am, for your presence today. May I request you to kindly deliver the session and take over the session from here, ma'am?
Madam?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible, ma'am.
My screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Very good afternoon to you all. So today, as brief, we will be discussing about the cyber fraud awareness. So in this session, I will try to highlight upon the various cyber frauds that are happening across the globe, and the mitigations as an individual. How do we make ourselves and our family members protected against these cyber frauds? So with this agenda, we'll move forward. So before we go, cyber fraud is basically refers to malicious activity, any malicious activity, which involves the use of digital technology to deceive individual or organizations for financial gain. So most of the cyber frauds seems to be financial gain as a ultimate motive behind these particular frauds. And in few cases, different types of attacks are there where they do for their end and all. So with this cyber fraud background information, basically what is a cyber fraud and all, let us try to understand what is happening in what kind of frauds are happening across the globe and all. So let's move further. What are the different types of frauds? Before I go with the real scenarios, let us just focus upon what kind of frauds are there as a theoretical information. See, most known cyber frauds starts from phishing, and thus phishing is one of the way through which cyber frauds are happening. So phishing is basically happens either through fake emails or websites, which will be tricking users into revealing personal information. And there are some different frauds towards identity theft. So identity theft they do through stealing personal details to impersonate somebody and so on. Similarly, there are frauds related to credit or debit cards where unauthorized use of payment cards and all is happening for again financial gains. And yes, there's a huge increase in the ransomware attacks. So ransomware is basically, like all of you must be knowing about malware like virus and all. Similarly, ransomware is also kind of malware only. However, that will try to encrypt your entire data or something, and the fraudsters will try to ask for money. They demand for money, without which you will not be able to see your data again in plain text. So in this way, ransomware based attacks are also increasing. People are trying to do ransomware based denial of service and all. Like for organizations, ransomware attacks are like they try to inject the systems with ransomware, kind of a malware. They encrypt and they try to ask demand for ransom. If not paid, the company's data will be leaked in the dark web, kind of a thing. And however, in the individual situations, they are trying to take support of to do denial of service attacks by encrypting the systems, by performing ransom attacks. And then if the user is not supporting, they will completely delete the personal data. And if they have their support that they are demanding is they need to support to perform DOS attack on remote systems. This way, ransomware is increasing by regular day-to-day lives. And social engineering, as most popular, it was in even in the earlier, and now because of increase, much more increase in the digital devices, social engineering, the attacks or cyber frauds using social engineering have also drastically increased. It's basically towards manipulating people in divulging confidential information and so on. And yes, there are fraudsters who is trying to do different types of cyber frauds, impacting the business through business email compromise or through some other means. They are trying to make impersonate executives to trick employees in transferring money. So we'll try to understand different cyber frauds that has happened in the real time using these kind of mechanisms that are shown just now. And we'll try to understand what should have been the best way to avoid this fraud to happen for an individual. And yes, apart from those frauds, these are certain future trends in cyber frauds. One is AI powered attacks, hackers using AI to create sophisticated phishing campaigns. There are Internet of Things vulnerabilities, where through that IoT vulnerabilities also attacks are happening. At the same time, on IoT devices also attacks are happening. Cryptocurrency frauds is also considered to be future trend in cyber frauds, and deepfake scams. Though the title is future trends, we are already into these future trends as of now. And the examples that we will discuss in this session is more towards these kind of future trend based cyber frauds only. So these kind of frauds are continuously increasing. And according to the research done by Checkpoint and even various bodies, survey bodies, there is a huge spike in the increase. According to Checkpoint, the 46% year-on-year increase is there compared to global average of 30%. And India is prone to be more effective to attack towards these cyber frauds. In fact, certain statistics are also saying that by 2025, almost $10.5 trillion would be the cybercrime cost that would be hitting onto. So imagine how many cyber frauds are being uh, planned to perform affect the individuals or the organizations. It's very unfortunate today that being AI and all growing up so much, people are also misusing AI only to perform these kind of attacks. There are different technologies, and nowadays services are also coming to perform attack. If someone want to perform a DOS attack on some organization, there are activists who are giving DOS as a service. So if some these attacks are also given as service, in such a situation, the criminals are actually moving for growing far, and trying to increase the cyber attacks towards the various organizations as well as individuals. So it is high time for us to be very cautious and vigilant so that these cyber frauds do not occur to ourselves, to the family, or it would not affect the organizations. So with this background, let's look into various frauds that are happening, why they are happening, and what is the root cause behind all such things that are being done. So if you see the cyber fraud, according to a particular news, cyber fraud costs in India is 177 crores in the financial year 2024. And there are huge amounts of crores of amount has been lost by various individuals. And among all those things, investment fraud seems to be at a higher risk, higher thing, where people are investing upon different platforms which without verifying the genuinity of the platform, and the scammers are trying to lure the victims, promising they will be getting high returns. They are trying to do social engineering as well, discuss individually, and trying to lure them in getting more benefits if they are trying to put shares into a particular thing. And and that too, the platforms that are being used are again malicious platforms. So by getting into such kind of platforms and such kind of interest into the investment things, there are fraudsters who are trying to misuse that and trying to perform attacks. So investment frauds are very at a huge increase. One has to be very cautious, understand whether I am investing in the right platform or not, whether we are interacting with the right person or not. All of these has to be cautiously thought before doing or investing on any new kind of activities. If you see, this is one kind of attack where enabled by AI, phishing becomes quite simple. As we may know, phishing seems to be a kind of a attack where someone receives a phishing email or a phishing website on a mail, maybe having a link which will redirect to phishing email, phishing website or so. So basically, phishing is kind of a thing which looks like original. Now, when we are saying phishing over the phone calls, it looks like an original voice, and they try to consider that the person who is speaking is the known member, or it is in that way. Now, in this example, there's a person was trying to schedule an appointment with doctor. He was trying to understand which doctor to be looked for in the Google search or in any Bing search kind of a thing, and he did not get much results, so he stopped searching. However, the search engine and the system in which he is using, there are some AI based intelligence already available, and they were trying to help him by saying that, okay, since you have searched for this, this information about his search activities and all were being understood by some remote players. And he suddenly got a phone call saying, sir, we have understood that you are trying to book an appointment with a doctor. So we understood that you are trying to look for this, and thus I am calling you to support for the same. And the person who made him call to him convinced him to install one app where he can easily find doctors and immediately book appointments. And the moment that Mr. Nitin, who was a victim actually, have installed the app, and he tried to do booking of the doctors and all, in the background that app acted to be malicious enough that his phone control has been received by the remote attacker, and the phone is misused, wherein various unnecessary activities, malicious activities were done. So AI kind of a things which are helping us to give the right search contents and all, they are also being used by hackers to get informations in the real time and trying to impersonate us like this by redirecting us to malicious apps and things like that. So we should never be under the pressure, or we should never consider the phone calls that we receive with regard to installation. If any phone call is coming asking us to install something, that should be the very first go to stop that. No company, even a genuine company, does not request for do so. This is one another example. Again, this is regarding AI technology only was being used. As we see, this is the biggest deepfake fraud. In fact, it was the biggest in the month of February of this year, where a fake Zoom meeting was held and a CFO was cloned. CFO is the Chief Finance Officer, was cloned, and $25 million were stolen by the fraudster. And if you read this particular news, it's clearly complete fake, deep fake fraud is being done, where a multinational company in Hong Kong actually, there are attackers who have tried to use the publicly available videos, photographs of that company's employees, including the chief finance officer's videos, photographs he used, and using AI, he tried to train and create some fake videos. And one fine morning, one of the the finance department employee, received a call and asked for a he tried to do social engineering communications through social engineering. He tried to play as if he's one of his employee only. For a week's time, he was trying to interact with him. And one day he said that we need to do a secret transaction and immediately have called for a Zoom meeting. And the employee attended the Zoom meeting, and wherein he saw all of the people who were there in the Zoom meeting are his employees, including the chief finance officer was also there in the meeting. During the meeting, they have discussed that they have to do the secret transaction of 25 millions to around 5 different bank accounts of Hong Kong. We do not know the motive behind it, but yes, this was what was discussed during the meeting. And in the meeting, everyone that is there in the meeting were actually acknowledging the transaction. Everyone confirmed. And thus that poor guy employee have considered that this is all my top management have agreed to do transaction, and he immediately done the transaction. Later on, when he tried to really go to the office and try to interact with them, he understood that none of those employees were there in the meeting that morning. Later after one day time only, it has been realized that the call which was done in the morning to do 25 million transaction was completely fake, and the Zoom call, whatever videos he saw, everybody were fake. So these kind of frauds are happening. So it's not only the phone calls that we should not believe, even the video calls that we see are actually being duped by people. They are trying to create fake videos and trying to misuse in this way. In fact, this is something similar to the one that I just now discussed, and this is much latest, October 15, 2024, just 2 days before October 15. It means probably in 12 or 13 it has happened, where again cyber criminals use a deepfake technology to swindle Love Struck out for 380 crores. So here also, the scammers have used AI generated images and personals, creating fake profiles of highly attractive women. And this happened majorly in China, Hong Kong, Singapore countries, where the victims were based on the victims' preferences only. The fake profiles of attractive women were created, and they tried to do social engineering with them through various social media platforms. And after certain interactions, they have tried to ask some demanded certain money from these victims, and victims have also transacted them through in the cryptocurrency format. So even after engaging in video calls, victims never identified that they were fake, because the videos, AI generated images and videos looks to be so genuine that it has been done. However, when after losing crores of money only, all of these victims came out and started talking to the police, lodged complaints. And as a result, these scammers have set up almost a good organization for around 4,000 square feet aerial space, where they have put high-end systems like a real IT company. They have started a company. They have even recruited very technically good engineers who have graduated from different different colleges. They have hired them by paying high salary. And for almost last October, that is almost 1 year, they have took to establish this particular platform, where social media platform is also been set up by this company, as well the cryptocurrency transactions, whatever they have done to set up that entire environment also. They took 1 year time, and the attack was done in this year, in this month. So this is something that is happening through fake AI generated. So this is a very high time for us to think about which is fake and which is genuine. And yes, this is one another case which happened unfortunately in India, and it still continued to happen in the recent months also, where a mother received a phone call from a child saying that she has been kidnapped. She said that, ma'am, please help me, mother. I have been kidnapped. The kidnapper also spoke to her saying, your daughter is with us. If you want your daughters to be safe, you pay us 50,000 rupees, and so on. He actually demanded for 3 lakhs of ransom. However, he asked initially for some amount. See, the mother was panicked. She tried to call the daughter. Daughter did not pick the call. She called her husband. He also did not pick the call. And in a state of panic and to consider the daughter to be safe, she immediately transferred 50,000 of amount and requested the kidnapper to keep her daughter safe. She will pay the remaining amount in some time. And after an hour, she got a call back from her daughter asking why did mother call. And it is understood that the daughter is safe at her hostel. So without a real kidnap being happened or anything, by just spoofing her daughter's voice using AI technology, the kidnapper have tried to do a call like this and perform this particular act of getting money. So uh, these kind of things are happening, and as per this particular news itself, there are certain instructions where certain verbal code words to be set up to make the system to be between the family members and try to call them back to identify whether the what is happening is true or not, kind of thing. Such precautionary measures are to be taken to avoid getting duped into this kind of attacks. Same is the case here also, where using AI voice scam, another woman lost 1.4 lakhs. As you see, her niece has tried to make a call asking, I am in a immediate financial aid, please transfer the amount to me. Since it is her relative, she immediately tried to help her out, but eventually she understood that the call what she received was actually not her nephew. So in this way, AI voice calls, AI video calls are happening at a very, very high scale. It's high time for us to be very cautious enough to understand what is genuine, what is not genuine. And we need to call them back to identify whether it is correct or not. Yes, moving towards the next attacks, FedEx, these are all basically, again, all phone call based only, but people are using this at a high stretch. And nowadays, many people are receiving phone calls saying that you have received a particular courier through FedEx, and through the customs department, it is found that your courier is having narcotics or drugs kind of a things. And if you try to call somebody, you will be punished further. And they are trying to demand money to get this courier being released to them. But the fact is, you never booked a courier, anything of that kind of a thing. There is no such courier that you will receive from that kind of a country also. But still, unfortunately, there are people who fall prey to such kind of phone calls, and they have lost huge amounts of money. So this courier, not only FedEx, in the recent days, even Indian postal based couriers also, people started referring, saying through Indian Post you have received a courier and it is with us, and they impersonate to be the police officer, in fact. And they say that it is with the police. You can, if you have doubt, you may please call to Mumbai police, Hyderabad police, or whatever, and compare. When they try to name a police like that, immediately people were feeling feared, and in a fear they are trying to pay the amount and asking to not to give it any not to take any action or lodge any complaint, kind of a thing. But the fact is, if really police want to do such verifications, the police would personally come and meet they will be able to, because courier has our address, they would personally come and meet and find out what is the thing, but they would not make a call. This is something that a base simple point which one has to think based on their common sense. And yes, the other attacks which are happening is kind of digital arrest. Again, with the same aspects that you have either your courier is having something wrong, or some people act as a police officer and they say that your mobile number has been used for illegal communications. Your bank account is getting transactions from illegal accounts. They are trying to relate our personal accounts, personal numbers with some illegal activities that are happening across. And they are trying to blackmail, saying, if you talk about this anywhere, we will try to publicize this information to your relatives, to your friends. And to make them believe, no, they try to even tell certain information about our family, our Aadhaar numbers, our friends, and all, because all of these are already available on many places. Look into a Facebook account of any individual, there are lots of information about who are their friends, who are their relatives, what kind of activities they do. So by using this kind of information, they are trying to creates a trustworthiness that the attacker knows who are all my known people and all, and he will unnecessarily create a problem to my relations, and thus they are trying to be silent. So digital arrest is that they should not speak about this interaction with anybody. They're trying to make them digitally arrest by not going into social media platforms, not using any kind of devices and all, and later on demanding some ransom kind of things. So these kind of frauds are also happening. One has to be very cautious. Any phone call received from anybody, do a cross verification from the concerned department. Don't just act based on just a phone call. Even if it is continuously coming to you also, we need not go into a panic situation. We have to cross verify the genuinity of the calls and then only act upon it. This is one example I was referring to, is the India Post attack. And scammers in the recent things, just 2 days before, Gmail also have released an advisories to all the people that this kind of thing is happening and what precautionary measures they have to take. So scammers have taken over Gmail accounts. Basically, they try to impersonate. They are trying to show like a Gmail genuine email, and the email says that either your password has been leaked or you should, it's time for you to change your password, kind of a thing. And they're trying to create AI generated phishing scams through emails, through and all, and trying to make individuals forcefully reset their password. And during the attempt of resetting the password or the things, they are trying to land up by giving out the original credentials to the fraudsters' phishing websites. So one has to be very careful enough. Any emails that is coming into, cross verify with its genuinity of users and all, and read the contents properly to ensure that it is genuine or not, to verify the genuinity. Similarly, even employees are being targeted towards downloading the malware into their systems through phone calls. As said, again, there's a phone call behind these kind of attacks where they're calling an employee and trying to guide them to do some kind of troubleshooting on their system or solving a problem that is happening due to some kind of a payment or whatever. And they're asking them to download a software from their site. And that downloaded software is nothing but a remote controllable software or something, which once downloaded and installed, the entire organization is getting compromised. So these kind of things are happening at a very high stretch. As you see, the date of this particular news is also very latest, October 9, 2024. And this is something different. It did not happen in India, but yes, it's high time for us to think that these kind of things can happen with us as well. If you can read this news, woman shares a QR code on social media by mistake and she receives 50 lakhs bill for the food she had not ordered. And if can we relate what might have happened here? This happened in China. It was in 2023 December. Though it is, the date is 1 year old, December 23. This can happen with anybody if you are not very cautious enough. What happened was, a lady have went to a restaurant and ordered food, and for that delicious food that is placed on her table, she has taken a photograph of that food and put that picture of that food into her Facebook social media platform, saying that this food is very delicious in this particular restaurant. After some time, she got a bill of around 50 lakh rupees bill. In fact, in their in their amount, it has been mentioned. So even the hotel person was very surprised to see this much of bill. Later on, it is understood that the table where she took the photograph, there is a QR code put up in the on the table displayed. That QR code gives a list of menu. It's a menu of that particular hotel, and people can order from that menu directly. By scanning the QR code, it just opens up a small website where we can just add a particular item, and that item will automatically served in that particular table where that QR code is there. So the moment she put that photograph with the QR code in the social media platform, people started scanning that QR code and started ordering food on that particular table. In fact, she also got so much of food on her table before the bill. She was asking, I did not order all of these things, but the waiter is continuously delivering the food to her table and finally brought the bill of 50 lakhs rupees. So anything that we are posting onto the social media or anything, we need to be very cautious enough what information is going along with the photographs. There may be sensitive information about our organization also in those photographs that we may put. There may be QR codes like this which may reveal out informations. Anything that is there behind us, beside us, on our papers, all of these has to be well taken care before posting anything into the social media. So this is something that happened later on. So this is a little bit more information about what has happened on that. And yes, moving towards IoT, I was mentioning the latest cyber frauds. One of that was using AI. Second one was IoT. If you say this, though this is not a cyber fraud to individual, but yes, it is a fraud that attack that has happened onto the IoT devices. Millions of hacked toothbrush used Swiss cyber attack is what that has happened. And this news says that the smart toothbrushes which were used by individuals were being controlled remotely through perform a DDoS attack on some website. In fact, though the news has come to this extent, the effect of DDoS for successful or not is very not clear during by that time. However, there is a way or methodology for attackers to even control the smart toothbrushes. So it means that anything that is smart enough is controllable or is accessible by anybody outside the net in the world. It could be through any means. Whenever it is smart, understand that the smartness involves a chip inside it. There is a chip inside it which talks to the nearby devices, could be a Bluetooth, could be a Wi-Fi, or through RFID communications. There is a communication going for any smart system. And yes, our homes are all today with lot of IoT devices like smart washing machines, smart TVs, smart toothbrushes, smart ovens, and not many. Even the smart lights are also coming out with smart lights. So everything are smart enough to act by themselves, and they are also controllable by remote people. Similarly, smart TVs are also hackable. In fact, there were multiple instances where smart TVs were remotely controlled by people and brought in obsolete content onto the TV when people were watching it. So for the smart TV also, it's proven that smart TVs can be hacked. And so always make sure that your smart TVs are actually protected. And your smart TV protection starts with ensuring your Bluetooth communications are all properly set. It should not anonymously just like that accept any communication. If you go to your TV settings, you will have options to allow any device or approve the device only when it is acting. These kind of settings are available. Make it changes. So wherever the TV is supporting, try to put strong passwords. Always make sure the connections are approved by you before they actually automatically connect to the systems. Always update your TV softwares whenever there's a new version is coming up. Do not postpone the TV software updates. It is equally important today the how important we think about our operating system updates. And most importantly, the Wi-Fi to which our TVs are talking, all our home smart devices are actually talking to your home Wi-Fi. And if your home Wi-Fi is compromised, eventually the attacker will be able to control any of these smart devices that are connected to that home Wi-Fi. So securing your router is equally important over here. Your router should have a strong password. It should not be using a weak encryption technologies and all. And the TVs always give lots of apps. Make sure they are downloaded from official stores only, because the TVs are also nowadays coming with browsers where one can just type in any website and download the apps. That features are also there. So prefer downloading any app from official store only. Don't go for additional website based searches or anything. If at all your TV has cameras, turn off the cameras whenever it is not in use. This kind of protection mechanisms should be used for protecting our smart TVs. And if there are any other smart devices also, there are different precautionary measures. Most of these securing your router connections and all is common for any smart devices. However, according to device, it will change. Please go through the best practices regarding your devices security. So IoT devices are also at stake now. And this is some latest news where certain have released a guideline recently about alert for pension holders. In fact, a new method by cyber criminals to defraud pension holders has come up, where the cyber criminals are actually targeting pension holders by falsely updating their life certificate online. They're actually trying to lure the pensioners by offering to update their life certificate online. They don't need to go to the bank every once in a year. They can just do it online, is what the cyber criminals are mentioning, and asking pension holders to actually fill up all of these details in that particular website for getting a life certificate. And the moment they fill up all of these details, they are asking the pensioner for OTPs. And the moment they share the OTP, they are trying to use this to gain access to the pensioner's bank account. Because so they are in a way already having some information, what is the pensioner's bank account and all, and they have initiated some communication over there, either login or something, password reset they might have tried, and it would generate a OTP. So they may do a password reset on the pensioner's bank account and waiting for the OTP. During that time, they make the pensioners to actually fill up all these details and ask to share OTP. Once OTP is shared, they steal all of this amount and they're moving to fake accounts or to any wallets and trying to misuse it. So it's high time for pension holders also to remain vigilant. No one from pension office will ask for any such kind of personal details. And to do really understand what it is, one has to cross verify from pension office only whether really the certificate is online available or it is possible or not, whether the website that they are trying to ask filling these details is genuine or not should be verified. And so summarizing, till now we have discussed lots of frauds. So there are common tricks which people are using. Mostly when I referred a few of the phone calls, AI based calls, these are a few where TRI also has mentioned that can take an action against these things. They are trying to stop as much as possible regarding the spam calls or this kind of phishing calls through different technologies. However, there are cases where you may get calls supposed to saying that they are calling from TRI itself and your mobile label has been used for illegal activities. So if your phone services will be immediately suspended. That's what the fraudster tries to communicate to an individual. And once the moment they say they try to talk something more, the call is forwarded to the fraudster posing as if it's a cybercrime cell of police, and further communication demands for some amount. The reality is, TRI is saying that always disconnect such kind of phone calls. Disconnection of phone services is done by telecom companies and not by TRI. So never believe unto the calls coming like this claiming to be TRI. They never do any calls. They only try to send any kind of awareness messages through SMS, that through telecom operators. And one example we have already seen, parcels struck at customs. The victims get calls saying that the parcel is containing malicious contents and makes the person panic and make them forced to pay some amount. So disconnect the call and immediately try to repute them. If you click on any of the links that they share or anything that you download, that may affect your device or your device access may be received by the fraudsters. And there are cases where people pose as if a police officer, the fraudsters accused to be a victim or a relative of a crime. And the fake CBI officer conducts interrogation over the video or phone calls and threatens for a digital arrest. That's what is again happening. So police have clarified that they do not do digital arrest or online interrogations. So any such thing is that they will really try to do it in person only. So one has to, if any such calls is getting, immediately disconnect the call and report the number. And credit card issued in your name. This is another type of call where a fake executive calls to say a large transaction was conducted on the victim's credit card. So you may receive a call saying that on your credit card, there is a huge, large transaction happened. And I wanted to confirm whether you are the one who is doing this particular transaction or not. And the credit card is bogus, so the victim call is forwarded to another fraudster who offers to help. Once they gain trust, they start asking for the CVV, OTP, and all these things. So we need to be very cautious enough. If the credit card is issued in your name, you will usually get SMS about any transaction. Without any SMS or cross verification, no such transaction is being done. So if you are receiving such calls or anything, immediately disconnect the calls, check with your banks, and if at all you have apps or anything, try to check with those whether anything is happening. And family members been arrested. Someone poses as a police member and informs that your close relative has been arrested on a serious charge, and the victim will be asked to pay some amount to be dropped. So these are all maybe using AI to mimic the family members and all is something that is happening. So never ever panic for some situations. Check with the family members before taking any further action. Money transferred by mistake. Victims get fake text messages that some of your amount has been credited to the account. Scammers then calls up and says transaction was done by mistake and wants the victim to return the money. And usually the text message is not from the bank and no money was actually transferred. This one of the real incident also happened in this similar way that there's a transaction happened by mistake, you please transfer the money back. And for transferring the money back, they try to send a UPI transaction link on our WhatsApp or SMS. And the moment we click that, instead of some X amount, it may try to request for more amount also. So no such phone calls. If there is really some money is been sent by mistake, firstly check with your account. If you really received an amount which you have actually not supposed to receive, immediately inform to your bank that this way it has been happened, and then take the support from bank officials to act what is the best way to act upon. And yes, this is one another thing where we already discussed investment frauds. So these are all very commonly done. Get rich by trading stocks is something that many people are trying to advertise on. Social media ads promise lucrative 30 to 40% return from stocks. And people are being redirected to fake websites, fake applications, stocks related applications and all. And they try to create bogus portfolio of certain companies also, and trying to lure people into investing upon those kind of companies. So these are all kind of fake. So there is no end to what kind of, these are something that has happened, so we are referring it. But ultimately, for by understanding these things, our goal is that anything that is coming over the phone call or so, one has to clearly understand what is actually, whether it is true or not, kind of analysis should be done by an individual. Similarly, in the few months back, there's a lot of SMSs coming regarding KYC has been expired. SMS were there from bankings and all saying, click this link to update your KYC, otherwise your bank account will be blocked. But the fact is, no such thing has happened. One has to actually try to always verify with the bank only. Do not ever click any of the links that are received on such SMSs. Earn big money from easy tasks. This is something going very wide in social media. Simple tasks they give, like you like a YouTube video, you'll get this much of amount. You try to repost this social media post, you'll get an amount. In fact, there was a WhatsApp scam also happened. I didn't give this example in this slide, where by sharing a particular video call, YouTube videos and all, he will get some amount is what has been claimed. The victim had done a video call also and showed how others have got the money. And finally, through video call and all, he tried to bring in trust to the person that by doing these kind of small businesses, he can earn a lot. And he landed up in giving out in return lots of amount as investment. Ultimately, he lost that invested amount completely. So money doesn't come easily is something that one has to think of. And any such calls, any such things that are coming up is, we need to think. But by, if you are really liking a YouTube video, YouTube, whoever has posted that YouTube video will get a like, and by getting a number of likes, he may get money from YouTube directly. But we will never get amount is something, is a basic fundamental point one has to think of. Anything across the social media platforms or anything, it is this fundamental that person who is liking or posting will never get any money. So don't be deceived by fraudsters by believing into these kind of things. So tax refund is also one commonly seen scammer activity, where people try to ask taxpayers to fill their income tax returns on different websites. Nowadays, there are a lot of websites who offer tax refund web things, and there are phishing websites created even for those, and trying to create problems to the attackers. They are trying to ask financial details to get the refund. More refund you can get if you do tax refund filling on my website. These kind of scams are also happening. So one need to be very careful enough against all of these things. So having understood the different types of frauds that are happening using voice calls, AI-based voice calls, deepfake videos, and also the IoT systems we have discussed, one has to be follow a certain cautiousness and prevention techniques which are listed over here. Once if followed, we will be using the digital world safely, and we will not be able to easily fall prey to these kind of cyber frauds. So one is always use strong passwords. Wherever possible, try to also utilize multi-factor authentication. Your WhatsApp has a multi-factor authentication, Facebook has a multi-factor, Gmail has it, Microsoft has it. So any software that you're using, they themselves will be having a MFA feature. Try to search for that feature in that particular solution and try to enable that wherever possible, because in case your passwords are stolen, because as a practice, passwords should be frequently changed and all. If passwords are stolen also, multi-factor authentication will help you to actually stop these kind of misuses if at all credentials are being lost. Be cautious with emails and links. Don't click on suspicious links or attachments. Always cross-verify with the senders and all. We need to always update our softwares regularly. Ensure you have proper antivirus and firewall protections in your systems and things. Avoid connecting to public Wi-Fi's whenever you're doing a sensitive transactions. Prefer using a VPN kind of a thing if at all you're doing sensitive transactions over public Wi-Fi. Always monitor bank account and credit card statements. Regularly check for any unauthorized transactions that may happen. Most importantly, limit sharing personal information online. The data once gone into the internet, you can never ever delete it. The data lives forever once gone into the internet. So always try to limit the personal information or any information that you post. Think twice whether it is really required or not, and then only go for the posting, because you may be thinking that if I upload a photograph by mistake, maybe Facebook or any other website or Gmail or anywhere, if you click delete, that it is deleted. But who guarantees that it is deleted? It may show it is deleted in the browser to you, but what is the guarantee that it's really deleted from the hard disk also? There's no guarantee. Everything is in the cloud. It's not within our country region also to do some kind of a verification on those systems and all. So ultimately, we need to remember, once the data is gone out into the internet, it's a photograph or a document or a password, a piece of code, anything, it would never ever come back to us. So think before sharing anything or uploading anything into the social media or internet platforms. Beware of the fraud calls and understand all the voice calls, voices can be mimicked using AI kind of techniques nowadays. And so we need to be very careful and understand whether they are correct or not. So finally, you are responsible for your own security. Cybercrime will never go away. We discussed about this fraud. Tomorrow there may be some other fraud. Later on, some other fraud. Only thing what we can do to protect ourselves is to be cautious and be vigilant. Think before acting anything. And this website, visiting the site, will give you some information upon certain security settings, best practices that one has to do, and so on. So this is about the cyber frauds that is happening. Thank you so much. Make your family and friends aware. Share this information and cyber hygiene practices with your family and friends. And thank you so much. In case of any questions, we can take it up. We have 5 to 6 minutes time.
Yes, madam. Thank you so much, madam, for the informative and interesting session related to the latest frauds and scams that actually tells us how much we are prone to the cyber threats and the absolute necessity of the cyber security related measures, awareness, and updated information which is required to keep ourselves safe in this online world. So thank you once again. Now the session is open for any questions or questions that the participants might have. They might post their questions in the chat box to madam so that she can answer them as she had mentioned.
Yes, ma'am. There is one question from Dr. Partha Chaudhary. How safe is Alexa or Siri, as they are ears 24/7, 365 days? Any safeguards other than securing routers? Sir, your question itself has an answer into it. They are ears 24/7, 365. It means that the Alexa or Siri device, the power button is on in the house for so much of time. We can always switch that off when we are not using it. That is the first and foremost guideline one has to follow. When I want to play something over the TV or using Alexa, only at that moment we may turn it on so that it listens to our voice and go. When we are not using it, keeping it on is definitely a risk, because as you said, it has ears all the time. And Alexa and Siri are connected through Bluetooth to our mobile devices. And in the mobile device, there are various apps which will have permissions for the Bluetooth. So you can go to the settings, because any app that is having permission to Bluetooth will be able to easily talk to Alexa as well. And they will be able to instruct Alexa on your behalf as well. So one precautionary measure is turn it off whenever not in use. And from whichever device you're trying to configure these devices like Alexa, Siri, verify whether that device has any app which is also having permission to Bluetooth, and whether that app is genuine or not. If that app is genuine, trusted app, then fine. If it is not, kind of a gaming app or any kind of a beautification app kind of a things, then those apps recommended that they should not have the Bluetooth permissions. These are some quick settings apart from securing routers, sir.
There's one more question, I think, ma'am. It says it is from Mr. Nitish Kumar Gupta. How to know that this email is generated with the help of an AI?
Yeah. So if email is generated by AI, first of all, if it is generated by AI or not, the mail trustworthiness comes from the sender of the email. So you can always verify the email headers and verify whether that email is coming from the trusted source or not. Through that, you will be able to understand whether that email you can trust and click any links, in fact. However, by reading the content and body of the matter, we should be able to analyze whether that is trying to trick us in clicking on something or not. Which app is best in call identification? In fact, I personally recommend, it's not any official statement, but based on my research and exploration done during various apps, I don't recommend using call identification apps, because the moment these kind of apps like Truecaller or anything coming into our mobile device, if you go and verify the settings that these apps are having, they're very dangerous. All of the critical things that are there in your phone, like mic, messaging system, the camera, all of these settings are by default permitted by these apps, your entire call log also. And this once these apps are having content complete data of your call information, messaging and all, they will be able to easily use this data further to do any kind of social engineering as well. And if you have Truecaller and another person is also having Truecaller, they will be able to search anybody across, means whoever is having Truecaller app, that person's phone log, phone book is actually visible, accessible across everywhere. So from security point of view, it is not recommended to use any call identifications. Nowadays, all the smartphones are having inbuilt spam detectors. You can use that as well. Even the telephone, what I should say, service providers, our mobile operators are also providing spam detection techniques. Recommended to use them rather than believing on these kind of apps.
Madam, there's one more question, I think from Miss Lavanya Madhu.
Yes, madam, I'm seeing it.
Yes.
How to educate minors about it, as they are innocent in revealing lots of information? Maybe. Yes, true, madam. It is very difficult to educate them. In fact, educating them has to be done in the form of the stories or kind of things only. Nowadays, though the kids are actually at the smaller age, they are using digital devices. They are already in a mature state to understand what is password, what is key. If you give them a phone, will they not ask you that, Mama, please tell me the password? So by this time, they already know what is password. So we need to tell them in a easily understandable language itself and educate them. And you may use certain stories, these examples what we have told, you may create some stories and tell them. But yes, it's important to educate them as well, because they are also using digital devices. How to avoid getting calls from fraudsters? So the point number 1, reduce distributing your mobile phones at the shopping malls, at the survey forms that are there on the websites, because that's the first place where people collect the phone numbers from. Second thing is, in your mobile phones or from the ISPs itself, there are mechanisms to stop spams, like a do not disturb kind of things and all, which does one level of reduction in spam reductions. So these are some tips, madam. But yes, we cannot stop anything that is coming towards us. We can only close our doors. So that is something that we can just disconnect the call or avoid taking the calls and so on. And yes, importantly, once we take the call, just by saying yes also, there are some tricks that are being done in the recent cases. By saying the word yes, we are trying to give our voice to the how our voice says yes. And that is being also used by fraudsters to automate certain phone call, what you should say, automated calls that come, where are you so and so, we say yes. Did you do the transaction, we say yes. So that word the voice of yes is also can be misused by fraudsters. So one precautionary is, whenever we are receiving calls, especially from new numbers or something, try to add more words and do not just say a single word like yes or something. You need to put up a different, more combination of words in the first statement itself. How to identify video call is created with the help of AI and it is fake. This is something that even many people are trying to identify solutions. In fact, the video call is fake or not, after the video is been received offline, there are certain solutions and softwares which can do a deep fake detection and tell whether this video call is created using AI or not AI. But when it is lively happening, the are not yet come. In fact, if there is a WhatsApp call coming up, WhatsApp itself should be able to tell us that it is a fake video call. As such, the technology is not there. That is the reason we are trying to today discuss that any video call that you receive or anything, we need to cross verify with the person individually. Don't just believe the call or the voice. However, over the real time, we don't have a solution. Answer to your question is we don't have at this moment. But yes, there are many solutions which can do this offline. So if you got a video call, you can feed that to different tools. There are tools. Even CDAC has a deepfake video detector kind of a tools. If you feed such things to those kind of tools, they will be able to identify and tell whether it is AI generated or genuine.
Can we take a
It's safe
few?
to give access ChatGPT or similar AI tools in the government offices or network? Actually speaking, it is not recommended because there are attacks targeted planned. Actually, there are some research saying that even the information generated, uh, they are using ChatGPT and LLM solutions for creating attacks kind of a things. And ChatGPT and these kind of AI tools itself are hosted somewhere outside, where we do not know how trustworthy are they. So there is a possibility of leakage of information that can happen from our offices, because our office, when we are using ChatGPT, our office IP is visible to ChatGPT as a public IP, right? From that IP, they can relate that okay, this organization is trying to search these kind of data, so they may be working in these areas, or there is a code coming up in ChatGPT and trying to improvise. So there is a possibility. I don't say yes because ChatGPT itself has given so many privacy related policies and all are there. However, relying anything that is outside, and where in fact where we are actually trying to put lot of information from our end, one has to think and carefully plan whether it should be allowed or not, depending upon the nature of the work that is done and activities carried out. Okay, I think we are going beyond the time. How fraud can happen with QR code being sent by scammers after sending money to victim. So that's what. So when QR code based scam for attacks is basically happening in such a way that when a QR code can do two things. One is receive money or send money. Most of the time when we go to shopping malls, we try to scan QR code to send money to them, right? So at that moment we are trying to send money. The other way is we can also receive money using QR code. So if you want to receive some 100 rupees from your friend, instead of showing this, just telling your UPI ID or something, in your app you can generate QR telling that from you create me a QR code for receiving 100 rupees. So the QR codes are capable to even receive money or send money. So if you are trying to receive money, that is fine. But if you are trying to scan a code and trying to do a transaction sending directly to somebody, you need to cautiously verify whom you are sending and what is the amount. Thinking that by you will be receiving money if you are trying to land up in scanning some QR code, that may be creating some kind of attack. So recent certain frauds happened with QR jacking and QR code scanning is related to this, where QR codes are replaced. Instead of receiving money, they started sending money kind of QR codes are being put up, where the attackers, users without knowing, thinking that they will receive money, they entered the PIN number and they landed up in sending the money out. Okay, so there are many more. Softwares are safe or not. Okay, we have a fraud can happen. This is discussed. Sir, any kind of a UPI transaction apps, the way we use the apps is important, and from where did we install those apps are important. We should not go for an app. Nowadays, there are many apps saying you can do any kind of UPI transaction using single app, and they put logos of Paytm, Google Pay, Phone Pay, everything into it. So we need to carefully identify whether the app which I'm trying to install is genuine or not. And yes, if you have downloaded from a genuine Play Store and using, it is safe to an extent that your app does not have any malicious, your mobile device does not have any malicious apps into it. As I said, there are already initiatives done by TRI and all. They have come out with a very detailed framework and plan about how to block these kind of malicious calls. They are trying to do their best in doing this activity already. So, okay, there's one question. We use VPN for internet banking, online frauds, whereas the bank services will block your traffic if it appears originating from. What do you suggest as a workaround for this? Yes, I said use VPN when you're using public Wi-Fi's. Actually speaking, when you're not in your trusted network, it is preferred not to do a transaction kind of a thing. But if it is very, very urgent, then you can use a VPN solution. But as you rightly said, there are certain banking websites or financial organizations who try to block the transaction if they identify that the network what you're doing is not trusted. Because the moment you connect to VPN, it may be belonging to a different region also. So that thing is there. So recommendation is, if at all you want to do financial transactions, prefer doing it using your mobile data or your office Wi-Fi or home Wi-Fi, but not to use publicly freely available Wi-Fi's at the railway stations, airports, kind of things. Okay. So I think I have answered most of the questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, the one last question. Is it advised to keep your online POS transaction limit? Yes, it is always advised to have the transactions, credit card transaction limit also to be least, POS device transaction also to be kept as least and all. Thank you so much. I think,
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
So thank you so much to all the participants for their cooperation and support. And also I thank Madam for the informative lecture. With this, we have come to the end of the session. There were a few participants who were asking about the certificates. So as informed earlier, I request the participants to go to the site awareness.isea.app, and there you have under the NCSAM 2024 banner, you have the quizzes and the pledges and other information. So once you click on that and attempt the quiz or the pledge, you will be able to get the NCSM 2024 certificate. So I request you to please visit the portal and have a look at the site and also get your certificate by attempting the pledges. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the attending the session and making it successful. Thank you.